All right, so I'm late to the game on Jimmy Dore criticism, and to be honest, I'm gonna be upfront. I like Jimmy. That doesn't mean that I don't think that Jimmy makes mistakes. He does make mistakes, but as far as Alexandria is concerned, as well as that other idiot down in Florida. I can't even remember his name now, and that's probably because I've completely and utterly dismissed him. Gillum, Andrew Gillum. Uh, so uh, now I've made videos on Alexandria and saying that people should endorse her, people should vote for her, and I've wrote many comments about how she is I thought her to be a very bright young lady, and that she seems to have a core value and ideology as well as values that that we all need. However, I was deeply disappointed and horrified to hear her on mainstream news endorsing Cuomo, even though she didn't actually mention his name. But I've also had this theory that that if you run within either the Republican or Democratic Party, that you are going to be pressured and coerced and manipulated, and that no matter what you may stand for, unless you are willing to put your body, your reputation, and even your family and friends on the line to stick with your principles, with your morals and ethics, and you're willing to go to jail, you're willing to even die for the cause, then it's otherwise it's useless. This lesser of evil. There is no such thing as lesser of evil. There is only evil. There is good, and then there is evil. There is no in between. That is my opinion. And I was deeply disappointed in Alexandra. I had a great deal of respect for her, and so on and so forth. And as far as David Pakman and Sam Cedar, I personally can't stand Sam Cedar. I think he would sell out on non-existent principles if he was being paid $30,000 or $40,000 a day. It's simple as that. He would sell his grandmother, his children, whatever. That's my take on Sam Cedar. David Pakman used to respect the hell out of him. And I know that he's less progressive and more liberal, but I could still respect David Pakman. But he had issues when with the what's happening in Gaza, and he basically did a pro-Israel thing, and he came off as being highly hypocritical to me, and that was the last straw for me, because I've also seen him attack other progressives in the way he attacked Jimmy Dore, and while I agree that those on the progressive, or and actually I'd rather use the word those with a common basis should stick together progressive is just kind of meaningless. Anyways, I'm not putting that sentiment out correctly here, but David has done this on a few other occasions, and this has been slowly irritating me. And when he finally became really rah-rah Israel, even though he has talked about Israeli politics and policies, and he has been against it, the simple fact of the matter is that for something like what's happening in Gaza with the Palestinians, and almost a mindless ness to it, and him backing, well, that was the final straw for me. And so I unsubscribed from his channel. And he and a few others talked about how you shouldn't just because they disagree. No, it's not a matter of disagreeing. It's a matter of you saying one thing, right? Your show saying one thing, you talking one thing, and then being absolutely 180 on the issue. David always talks about hypocrisy, but he was being hypocritical. He was doing the hypocrisy. And so that is the reason why I dropped him. I still respect David on many of the things he talks about. There are certain things that I just cannot stomach. And for the other YouTubers that talk and do videos, consider your own hypocrisy. Because Jimmy was completely right. If you can kowtow to somebody like Cuomo and the establishment, and I consider the establishment utter criminals, world-class criminals. They are organized crime with the legitimacy, with paper legitimacy. That's all they are. So I completely and utterly agree with Jimmy. Whether I haven't seen the videos. I've just taken what others have done because it's something I wasn't really paying attention to. I'm not really focused on these meaningless things because it is meaningless. I'm looking for actual, real world-based meanings, stuff that actually impacts all of us, even those idiots on the right wing, who can't seem to understand that that the Republicans and other conservatives that are in power is not there. They're not there to make their lives better. It's simply that. And the establishment Democrats, same thing. They're both one side of the same coin, and they're both evil. There are very few who could be considered more ethically honest, but those I can name in one hand. The simple fact of the matter is, we have an unaccountable, illegitimate governmental system, whether it's in the federal or the state, and even down to the local. And that in itself is illegitimate, criminal. But as I said, Jimmy is right, because I feel the same way. I feel that Alexandria spoke, and at the time I thought she was utterly genuine. But for her to cave in and to endorse because of party affiliation, that's criminal. I was trying to run for governor of Pennsylvania. Granted, I was not able to get any signatures, and I was not able to get any movement. But the simple fact of the matter is I would not have caved, I would not have endorsed, and I would have been. And as I was trying to get signatures, I was calling every Republican and almost every Democrat criminals, organized crime with the paper legitimacy. And I was calling the media criminals, because they are. Because they're working hand in hand. This whole thing of corruption. It's not corruption. It's criminal. It's criminality. It's an offense and an assault on citizens. Those who are paying these people. Those who they're paying from watching commercials, buying products, or paying through taxes. It's all criminal. So this whole thing of them using our blood, sweat, and tears, our efforts to assault us as a whole, that's complete and utter insanity. I'm deeply disappointed. I'm hoping that Alexandria was just covering her ass and trying to put the establishment in a situation where they lessened the outlook that of a threat in her coming into office. But at the same time, I still cannot agree with her voicing endorsement for a criminal like Cuomo, because there is no doubt in my mind that Cuomo is a criminal. He should be in jail. He should be in jail. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I'm sick of having citizens and fellow Americans go to jail for oftentimes not doing any crime, or doing something such as smoking marijuana, or doing the quote unquote drugs. When we have supposed legitimate companies being the biggest drug pushers and drug dealers, endangering and literally killing fellow Americans. That is criminal. And Cuomo, like just about every other establishment politician, otherwise AKA world-class criminals, are responsible, directly responsible, with their policies, with their greed, for killing Americans, for enslaving Americans. As an elected official, you are supposed to be smarter. You are supposed to be more ethical, more moral, more of everything. But that's not what we're getting. But that's been the case for thousands of years. Right now, it's just gone into overdrive, into the echelons of utter insanity. So that's the situation. Cynthia Nixon, she should have won, but she didn't. Why? And this is my conspiracy theory, and unfortunately, there has just been way too much evidence throughout centuries where establishment makes those who are established, those criminals make it so that they can stay in office. But that's my opinion. That's my conspiracy. And but I think the sentiment is being shared by a lot of people. And while it may not be the plurality right now, I think that sentiment is getting larger and larger. And at one point, and I think history will show that it wasn't so much conspiracy, but actual fact. Again, Jimmy, I agree with Jimmy, and we may both be being hyperbolic, but I don't think so, because the plain fact of the matter is, lying, whether you call it a white lie or you know, you're doing a compromise, it's still capitulation, and capitulation to evil always brings about evil, and always divests power from us all.